Okay, welcome to our class on pain. We have a lot of you joining, so sadly, a lot of you have probably dealt with pain in your life, and we have tons of success stories to share with you today, and they will open up to lots of tips and tricks. So with that, we have a guest today. Kevin is a chiropractor, and he is going to talk about some things around pain. So with that, Kevin, I'm going to hand that over to you. Just if you can unmute yourself, Kevin, you're still muted. I'm trying to, I don't know if I can do it for you.
Okay, hi everybody. So I'm a chiropractor based in Cape Town and Sea Point. And just to give you a little bit of a background about myself, within my practice, I see a lot of people with spine care issues. So that would pertain to back pain, neck pain, and headaches predominantly. There's another sector within the practice which deals with sports injuries. So I would say both optimizing performance as well as dealing with any issues when they do arise. And finally, I have a tier within the practice that deals with pregnancy and pediatrics. So that would encompass the work that I do really on a daily basis. Following that, I'll just give you a brief intro about how I got into the oils. My practice was right across the road from Matt and Adi at the bakery, and they were fantastic clients of mine, and they're sending a lot of people through to see me all the time. And Adi then came to speak to me one day about the oils that she's doing. And to be honest with you, my initial thoughts were, what do you mean? Like, I'm a chiropractor, I deal with pain every single day. You know, in my head, I'm thinking, you know, what do you mean you're going to rub some oil on? It's going to help with the problem. However, with that said, based on our friendship and based on the support that they'd given me, I went ahead anyway, and I said, okay, cool, well, sign me up, and I'll check it out. So for about a year for a period of about a year, I think I was really just winging it. You know, I had a diffuser in my office, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but every day I would put a different combination of different oils within my diffuser, and slowly over about a year, I got to know the process. AD also has been fantastic just in terms of offering support in that way. You know, what can I use for this? What can I use for that? I've got this issue, and she's been brilliant just in terms of the support and a wealth of knowledge. Further than that, I recently had a baby, and we're having issues with her sleeping at night. And AD said, oh no, you must try the lavender. So needless to say, every evening before our baby Ari goes to sleep, she gets a lavender foot massage. And I think that it really helps. On the topic of pain, and I think that this is a good way to just transition into what the actual topic of tonight is. Another issue that we had is teething. So our baby's 8 months old, and she is starting to teeth. And the problem with it is that whatever we've tried seems to just really give temporary relief. So I was discussing my problems with Adi, as I do, and she's saying, oh no, you must try Copaiba. So she gave me a little sample, and it worked like a bomb, I must say. It offers very much a sustained benefit. It took a little bit of time for her just to get used to the fragrance of it, but right now it's really the only thing that I like to use. Moving forward from that, trying to just find the synergy between, you know, what I do within my practice on a daily basis and how to blend that with the use and the synergy of essential oils. the you know, a lot of people see me, and my main focus is to restore the mechanics of the body. So, hypothetically, somebody could come and see me for back pain, where the origin of the problem would be, say, a joint that's become stiff and stuck and therefore inflamed, and it's causing a lot of pain. And while it is very important to discuss a treatment plan with them and to discuss, look, how are we going to get to the bottom of this? How are we going to restore this this issue that you're having? I do also find a place for the oils where people are in more of an acute phase in dealing with pain. I find that oils are a very nice add-on or modality to recommend to patients after treatment to do in conjunction with coming through for their treatments. It also works very nicely after a treatment such as dry needling. So if you've had dry needling, it can leave you quite sore and tender just due to the deep tissue disruption. And using oils containing peppermint or copaiba, wintergreen, a combination of those, I find leaves the patient feeling good and relieved after treatment, and I think it also aids within the tissue healing response. Two other areas that I can talk to. Within my practice, I recommend supplements pertaining to my patients and how they can benefit from it. I really use two products within my practice. One is curcumin or biocurcumin, which is derived from turmeric. I am a very big fan of biocurcumin. It's a strong painkiller and anti-inflammatory. Am I good? So while it is a strong painkiller and anti-inflammatory, what I love about it the most is it is healthy. So a problem that we have in today's times when people use anti-inflammatories, so your typical non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, is while it does help a lot with pain reduction, it's got a lot of other systemic effects. So stomach ulcerations would be one of them. So I feel biocurcumin is a product that I can recommend safely. I know there's one or two relative contraindications got to do with blood clotting. So if patients taking warfarin in conjunction, I definitely recommend that they just speak to their doctor beforehand. But I think it is a safe product which can be used safely and effectively at home. And I actually take it every day, and I'm not in acute pain. I think it's just a very healthy ground level supplement to take. And the other supplement with regards to pain that I like to use is CBD. I use a CBD oil, and I find CBD is a very good product to use in terms of neuropathic pain specifically. So chronic pain patients, people who are experiencing pain on a daily basis, CBD seems to be a very effective and safe option for these patients to use. And I think from my side, I think that wraps it up. I know that there's quite a few people who are wanting to speak tonight. And I hope I was able to offer some value.
Thank you so much, Kevin. So grateful. It's really nice to have professionals from who have a degree in these types of things speak to this. It's important for us to hear. But more importantly, it's important to listen to our own bodies, right? And so that's what we're going to talk about today is those of us who don't have degrees in these things is what we've done and how it's helped us. So with that, next up is Bonnie. So Bonnie, I don't know if you can unmute yourself.
Hey, so I'm gonna share a couple of stories about pain. I don't experience a lot of pain for me personally, but I have some stories about helping people with pain. Early in my journey, my oils journey, what I was doing to grow my business was doing trade shows, and specifically we were going to horse events, and of course people are at horse events, right? So we would have a booth, and I was working with my upline, and I had and my very first trade show that I did, I hadn't been less than a year that I've been doing oils. And I went, and this man came into this woman came into our booth and said, I wonder if you could help my husband. We would have a chair, and we would have people sit in the chair, and we would just apply oils. We just ask him, what's going on? What are you dealing with? And we would apply oils on them, right? So this woman came in, she said, I think I need to send my husband in here. He had an accident years ago, and it was really bad, and he's in chronic pain. And it's like, oh yeah, I'll send him over. So a little bit later, this man came into our booth, and you could tell, how you see people who have been in chronic pain, they have that kind of look in their face. It's like that haunting, like pain look. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but it's like people who are in chronic pain for a long period of time, they have that kind of this look. So this man came into our booth. He said, my wife sent me over. I don't think you can help me. He said, I was in a tractor trailer rig accident 7 years ago, and my back, I've been on disability ever since. My back was injured, and there is nothing. I have tried everything, and I am just in pain all the time. And we said, well, let's try. Let us just try, right? So what we did was we layered oils on. Now, I don't know if you guys have learned about layering oils at all, if that's something that you've talked about, but there's a difference between layering oils and putting a bunch of oils in a roller and just rolling it on all together. There is a different effect. And sometimes, and I'm not against rollers. I think rollers are great. I think in a lot of cases that is like easy peasy, go for it. But when you're dealing with things like chronic pain and different things like that, layering oils on is a better way of getting the oils into your system, because, and you layer them on one at a time. So you put an oil on, and oils are designed to go into our system very quickly and work very quickly. And so it's like you can put a oil on and then immediately put another oil on top of that, and then immediately another oil on top of that. You don't have to wait 10 minutes or anything like that. But layering oils, there is something very specific that happens when you layer oils on instead of mixing them all together, right? So because you get the effects of that specific oil, and then you get the effects of the next oil and the effects of the next oil. Sometimes when you mix them all together, you mess up some of the effects, just saying. So what we did is the first thing we put on was Idaho balsam fir, which is now the grand fir. It is a very powerful pain oil. I don't know in South Africa, Allie, can they get that? Can you get any of the tree oils? I think you can sub.
Frankincense they get, myrrh they get, and lemongrass. Honestly, I find lemongrass sometimes I can sub, especially with the morphine balm, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
It needs to work too.
But no Northern Lights or anything like that they get in South Africa. Okay. Well, I'm just going to say this is what we did. So we did balsam fir, layered that on his back. He had like a neck and upper back injury was his thing. And so we were just layering it right on. And when I say layering, we were putting, probably 7-8 drops of each oil, just straight, no diluting or anything. And then we put Copaiba on, which Copaiba, as you guys probably know, is a magnifier of other oils. So it makes it more powerful. It's also very anti-inflammatory. And when there's illness and injury, there's always inflammation. And so that on top of the balsam fir made that oil more powerful, but it also started relieving some of the inflammation. And then we layered on wintergreen, which is kind of your natural aspirin, but it's also a very powerful oil. And then the last one we layered on was aroma C's. And I don't know if you guys have all these oils. Okay, aroma C's. Aroma C's is an amazing oil for muscles, for relaxation, for pain, for lots of things. And you know, we used to talk about it a lot more than we do now, but it is a game changer, I'm telling you. So we layered those 4 oils on. Within 5 minutes, this gentleman starts going like this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like, my pain, it's like going away. And he got up and he said, almost started crying. He said, oh my gosh, where do I get these things? He said, I have not been pain-free for 7 years. And within 10 minutes, you guys have made me pain-free. So of course, he signed up and everything. So the next day, it was a 2-day event. The next day, he comes into our booth again, and he said, I went to bed last night pain-free for the first time in 7 years. But he said at 3:00 in the morning, I woke up and the pain had returned. And I just wondered, because, at that time we didn't have the oils to sell straight out. He said, I ordered everything, but could you put some more oils on me just for today? So we did. Of course we did, right? Okay, so fast forward 2 months later, we are doing another show. This was in Virginia. We were in Virginia at this time. Fast forward 2 months later, we are in Pennsylvania doing a show. It's a horse event, Master Horseman Pat Pirelli. And so, similar people are coming to this event, because they follow him. And so we're at the show and we're setting up our booth, and this guy walks in and he's all jolly and jumping around and everything. And it took us a few minutes to recognize it's the same guy from Virginia that we had seen 2 months before. And he goes, I just have to tell you, my life has changed. You guys, thank you so much. You've changed my life. And I mean, I was a new oiler, and that had a profound effect on me. And that is, I will tell you guys, I have used that combo for so many people, and it has never failed me. I mean, that combination, I will layer those oils on, especially people with chronic pain. And I used to do classes where I would just start the class, it's hard to do that now because we're a little bit limited what we can say sometimes. But I used to start my class and say, who's in pain? And whoever raised their hand first got in the chair, and we just started getting them out of pain. Because as soon as you get people out of pain, it's wait, me too. It's you address somebody's pain. And you guys, chronic pain is, I did not realize how many people we are around that have some sort of, or some level of chronic pain. And people with chronic pain get used to an amount of pain. And so I always have people rate their pain. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your pain? And, you'll have most people with chronic pain be a 7 or an 8, and you get them down to a 3 and they're like, I'm good. And it's no, we're going for 0 pain here. We're going for 0 pain. And they can't believe that that oils can get them out of pain. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to share. I'm just looking at your comments here. What could you substitute for the grand fir? That's a tough one.
What about cedar? What was a good idea? It is another tree. I don't
Yeah.
really use cedar wood for pain. I don't know.
I would say maybe you could do a couple things like frankincense and cedarwood. Try that combo, or frankincense and lemongrass. Now the lemongrass, you'll probably want to dilute. That's considered a hot oil. All of these others we would just put on straight, but lemongrass could be a good one too. There's really not a good sub for grand fir. I mean, or balsam fir until you get some of the trios. But do you guys have cypress? You could try cypress. It's a little bit different, but cypress is good because it does a lot of the circulation thing going on. But if you've got things, do you have wintergreen? Do they have wintergreen? Okay. So, and aromaceas. So you could just try that, add some extra peppermint on the end for a driver with all of those. Okay. So thanks you guys for letting me share.
Kim, I think you're up next, right?
I am. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Bonnie. I always get so much value out of your talks. So I'd like to talk to you about the CBD oil, and I have to tell you that I was the world's biggest skeptic when it came to CBD. And look at AD nodding, because she said, like, so excited about the CBD, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. It's definitely not something I'm going to try. And then, of course, we had all these educational talks, and I logged into each one, and I'm just nerdy like that. I like all the information. And slowly, my perspective changed, and I ordered the starter kit, and I got my stuff. But I was so excited about the muscle rub, and I've got a ruptured disc on L4, L5, and lockdown, and I and this chair and I were like best buddies, and that wasn't the greatest thing for my back. And so I was in quite a lot of pain. So I was like so excited to rub this muscle rub on, and it was great. It was good. It really did work. But it was quite localized healing. And then I decided I would see how it felt to take the drops. I thought Serena had mentioned it helped with, that it helped her a lot, helped friends a lot with just like, calming. And I was like, well, I'm not really that uptight, but, we could all do a bit of calming. Let me see what it does for me. And then, so I took the recommended dropper. And a few hours later, I was like, okay, I feel exactly the same, actually, emotionally, mentally, but I have no pain. I have no pain anywhere. Not down my leg, not in my back. And for me, that was a massive game changer, because you talk about, like Bonnie talks about pain and what that does to you, and living with it all the time, and you do become used to a certain level of pain, and you think, oh, okay, well, I'd like to get from a 7, a 2 would be great, but actually I went straight to a 0, and I did have this like pinched look about me all the time, and I used the citrus oil. So then I thought, I had a couple of members that were having amazing success with sleep and the cinnamon oil, CBD oil. So I thought, well, let me give that a try. So I tried the cinnamon oil at night only. And I have to tell you that taking it only at night helps me sleep beautifully. But also the next day I have no pain. So that has been the greatest revelation for me in terms of pain relief. Every now and then when I'm do something stupid and really put my back out, I need to top up with the rub, or I love Bonnie's layering technique, and that's what I did quite a lot before the CBD oil arrived. But clearly, like a dropper of oil is a little bit easier than layering up. But I am a complete CBD oil convert, and I actually counted my empty bottles the other day, because we've had it since July, and I have 6 bottles. So I must have had a bottle a month. So that is my go-to every day, and I strongly recommend that somebody with chronic pain, and there are lots of testimonials for different kinds of pain, give the CBD oil a bash.
I think I'm next. Hi everybody, I'm Sam, and I'm very grateful that I am not a pain sufferer, but a few weeks ago we were visiting a friend who was here from Switzerland, and her mum, we were having dinner together at her mum's house, and her mum was literally shaking. She was in so much pain from sciatica, or what she thought was sciatica. I don't really know what it was. And so I said, let me put some oils on you. And she was like, not really too keen. And a glass of wine later, I think she kind of gave in. And she was like, Sam, let me try the oils. And like, she could hardly stand. She was really in that much pain. So I lay her down on her bed, or she lay down on her bed, and I only had a few oils with me. So I just used frankincense and peppermint. And like Bonnie said, I also used about like 8 drops of each oil neat. And it was the first time that I had done intentional layering. And I think, Bonnie, it was from a class you had done before that I'd remembered that. So I did about 10 minutes of quite deep massaging into her like lower back and thigh. And then straight after that did peppermint, and then about 10 minutes of peppermint, rubbing the peppermint in. Literally straight afterwards, the shaking had stopped. She said she was still a little bit sore, but I could feel like something pushing out when I was massaging her leg. And she phoned me on the Saturday, so that was the Wednesday, and she phoned me on the Saturday and she just said, Sam, I don't know what you did. I don't know if it was your magic hands or your magic oils. It's the magic oils, because I don't have magic hands. I'm not a massage therapist, just a regular person. And she just said, like, I'm blown away. I have no more pain. So that was, for me, the first person that I've really helped with pain. And these oils are incredible. So yeah, that's my little story. And I think I was handing to Lindsay, but she's not here. So it's Emily next.
Hey, I'm going to talk about headaches. I suffered really severe headaches for about a year and a half, 2 years. It was sort of debilitating in a way, in the sense that I would get a migraine that would kind of obscure my vision, and then which would only last for about 15 minutes, but then I'd sort of have that residual like foggy feeling and pain, and then it would take me 2 or 3 days to kind of get back to normal. And then when I was in a very high stress job, it would sort of be my life, like this cycle of going through like intense days where I was foggy and not feeling well, and then I'd get a little bit better, and then the cycle would start all over. And I accidentally discovered doing cosmetic Botox that really helped with that. And then from there, I went to a neurologist who would put needles of Botox all through my scalp. And my migraines and headaches were basically gone. If I were having 4 to 7 a month, it was maybe 1 every 6 weeks. So that was really good, I thought. And then when lockdown happened, I didn't go back to my neurologist because I did sort of have an adverse reaction at some point. And so I just went back to doing the cosmetic. And then since July, I haven't done any Botox. What I started doing was in July is when I hooked back up with Allie and started talking about oils, and really just tried to do an overall, like, take stock of my life and switch things up a bit. And I started doing Ninja red drink every day and putting lemon drops in my water and just feeling like I had more energy and better all over. And so being on this natural path, I was like, okay, I'm going to try doing the peppermint oils with a little just scent tent, which is like taking a couple drops of peppermint in my hand and rubbing it together to activate it, and then doing 2 or 3 deep breaths like that. And really, if I have a headache coming on, that was really helping. And for my first few weeks doing that was all I really needed to kind of get rid of my headaches, put the extra peppermint oil back here. But as time went on, I would start to get a few more headaches, and I would feel like this was coming from the tension when I wouldn't like be able to get rid of that. So I have my little muscle things that come from muscle tension headaches. So I would mix my Panaway and my wintergreen, and I mix those together in a little roller ball, and I would roll it like on my shoulders and in between my shoulder blades and wherever I felt like I had muscle tension, and that really kind of helped chip away at that. So then I started having sinus headaches that would start from sinuses. And what I was starting to realize, there wasn't really just one thing that had been causing all my headaches. It was the stress that was causing the muscle tension. And then sometimes I'd have sinus issues. And so then I started using the RC for the, which is something that can help with your sinus pain and pressure. And so I would just put it on my cheeks. And so that would help with that. And then I started, I'm kind of like, if it doesn't, this is my whole arsenal, right? So usually I can knock it out with one thing, and then I move on to the next thing. And so now I've gotten to where my baseline headaches, I haven't had a headache in probably, I don't know, a full-on headache for a good month or so. And because during meetings, just in case, I always have this Calm CBD roller. So I'm sitting on a Zoom meeting and I start to get stressed out, and I roll this on the back of my neck. One time though, kind of a ways in, I'm sorry, I'm not being great with the timeline, but I had tried all the things I just showed you, all of them, and nothing was getting rid of my headache. And Allie said, well, where do you think you are in your cycle? And I was like, maybe I'm getting close to starting. And she was like, take this Dragon Time and put it in the inside of your ankles. I did that. And I was distracted going about my business. And I noticed like 15 minutes later, I was like, my headache's gone. I'd been spending all morning trying to get rid of my headache, and it was gone. And so now my Dragon Time, if I forget to take it, I can definitely tell. And side bonus, my husband has noticed that my PMS is a lot less, which he is very, very grateful for. So that's my very elaborate headache story. Let's see, and who is?
I'm actually next. It's me. I'm so glad we figured that out. I love that I get to ask everyone where they are in their period. But thank you, Dragon Time. Okay, so my story, I was gonna share a picture for you, so maybe I'll have to come back and show you this picture. Shelly makes me share this picture on the regular, but 2 years ago, January, I went in for nasal surgery because there was not enough RC in the world to fix my breathing issues. I was just functionally, my nose had been broken multiple times, and it just was a mess. I went in finally to see the ENT, and he's like, I mean, you are like this in your septum. And I actually realized that my nose was broken when I looked at a picture of myself and my nose was sideways. And I was like, I don't think my nose was always sideways. Was it? So anyway, I will try to find this picture really quickly. I know, Shelly, you may already have it on the ready. But I went in for surgery to fix my nose. Here it is. And I had a very great ENT who was very open to working with me. I let him know that I did not like Western medicine particularly. They were actually really great in the hospital of like, I was like, what exactly is going in the IV? No, I don't want this. I don't want this. Just put me out. Don't put any antibiotics in there. Don't do anything else. And he actually allowed me to give him a bottle of oil as we were rolling into surgery that I asked him to apply to my face before he bandaged me up. So he rolled helichrysum, copaiba, and cypress directly on my nose before he ever bandaged me up. And so I never had any bleeding. It was like done. By the time they had bandaged me up, I was done bleeding. And it's not a pretty surgery. I won't get into details on like the fact that they basically have to peel your face off to do it. It's really gross. But what I will tell you is that I never used a pain medication. I found that all of my pain was behind my front teeth, which is apparently they use as leverage to break your nose multiple times to straighten the breaks that were previous. So I was very, very black and blue, and all my pain was behind my front teeth. And so I was constantly, not constantly, but every time I felt any kind of discomfort, I would just put Panaway on my finger and I would put it behind my teeth. And when I tell you that like like any kind of pressure was painful, right? So when I think about if I had to take pain medication and then try to go to the bathroom number 2, I don't know how that physically would have been possible for me without excruciating pain. So I never, and when I bring this up because pain medications make you constipated. So I never had any issue with that. And I healed extremely quickly. So I'm gonna show you this picture. It's super embarrassing and super gross, but I think pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? So this is me. I don't know if the reflection, there we go. So this is day 1, and this is day 6 with no makeup on. So in fact, Bonnie was on a call with me on that day 6. And she was like, oh my God, you look amazing. Like, you have to take a picture of yourself and share it. And I was like, so that's why I did it, was because Bonnie and a few of my other friends made me take the picture. But the doctor now uses oils because he was just shocked about how quickly I healed and my swelling and my bruising and everything. So that's my pain story. I have many pain stories, but that's the one that's most physically represented. And with that, I think we're going to swap 80 for Laura, right? Because I think Laura's still, I don't know if Laura's still getting a kiddo to bed. Oh, yes, she is. So yeah, 80, you're up.
Thanks, Addie. So just talking about pan away behind your teeth with your daughter having her braces, when my boys got their braces on their teeth, they used to drop pan away on their gums as well, and it really helps. Not great tasting, but so you can try that tonight. So I have so many pain stories, but I'm not going to talk about, I mean, the CBD muscle rub is my absolute best thing in the entire world. But I'm not going to talk about that. I think there are going to be quite a few other stories with the muscle rub. I'm going to talk to you about sprained ankles, because we have had a few of those this year as well. It seems like it's a genetic thing. If it's not the boyfriend, it's the daughter, it's the son, somebody's spraining their ankle. And I have a ready-made roller that I use, and I have ready all the time. It's just a roller with 20 drops each of panaway, lemongrass, and copaiba, and I fill it up with a little bit of jojoba oil, and I have that ready. And we use that for any kind of sprained ankles, ligament issues. The lemongrass is really great for any sort of ligament pain. I will also layer the oils when it's acute. We do also go to the chiro, and he'll strap the ankle really well. And so to get around the bandages, I'll roll the oils wherever I can, under the feet or just around the plaster. It gets where it needs to go. But layering also really works. And just, yeah, so that's what I do for my sprained ankles. And my mom actually uses the same roller for her. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and she loves using the same roller on her hands. And then she actually rubs the muscle rub, the CBD muscle rub over that as well. And that really helps her with her arthritis. And just with the layering, because I do have a lower back issue. When I have really terrible pain, I also use oils to layer, but I use, for me, which really works, is I start with copaiba, then I'll put on panaway over it, then lavender, and then I'll always do peppermint last, because as Bonnie said, peppermint's the driver. It's going to drive the rest of the oils into the cells, and then I cover it with my muscle CBD. So that really helps to make the oils penetrate into my cells and into my muscles. So that for me is really works. Sometimes my back can be in like really terrible spasm, and if I use those oils and layer it like that, it really helps. And I just wanted to talk about, and I don't know if anyone else is talking about supplements, but just an amazing supplement that I've started using. I've got a 15-year-old son, and he plays tennis every day for 2.5 hours, and he was just diagnosed as having this inflammatory condition called FOPE. I don't think anyone will know what it is, but it's maybe you've heard of Osgood-Schlatter's, but it's a very similar condition. It's inflammation in the bone marrow on his growth plates, and it's really painful, and obviously he has to rest and go to the chiro, had to stop playing tennis, and it was really, he couldn't even walk. It was excruciating. And so he was using the muscle rub, the CBD muscle rub, which really helped him heal faster. with this condition, but I actually ordered from America this amazing supplement called Agile Ease. And this is our curcumin supplement. So maybe one day it will come to South Africa, maybe it won't. We're hoping it will, but that's an amazing supplement if you're looking for something that's got turmeric in. Curcumin, as Kevin was mentioning earlier, it's just an amazing supplement. And also the supplement, the sulfazyme, which I take every day, which really helps with muscle recovery and for bones and joints. So those are my go-to supplements for any sort of muscle joint injuries. Really powerful supplements. I have so many stories, but I'm going to hand over. I'm not even sure who I'm handing over to. So whoever's next, go for it. My phone was stolen by my 7-year-old, so it's gone.
I think Allison Sharp, you're up next, if you don't mind unmuting.
Okay, hi, thanks. I've got 2 quick stories. First, a few years ago, well, I had a root canal, and I found out when they had done the root canal, the file, the end piece that they go in there and clean your roots out with, had broken off. I didn't know that for years, and all of a sudden I started getting some pain here, an infection, and I go to a specialist, and he said, well, that's been there for like 5 years, and it has started to erode your bone. And I'm like, oh, so what we had to do, he said, I need to do a bone graft. So I went in, and of course they wanted to give me antibiotics and the pain meds and a special mouthwash that had a lot of stuff in it. And so I decided to really try some natural things. So I went in and got the bone graft. It was a pretty extensive surgery, so I was really bruised. But what was great, when I came out from my antibiotic, I made my own, which was, you can make your own. We're going to talk about pain, but I won't go into the details of that, but you can make your own antibiotic. But for the pain, and it was very painful and bruised, I rubbed Panaway and even extra helichrysum on the bruising because I had big bruise here. And within, I'd say 3 days, it was like yellow. It was all gone. Then for the pain, which was severe, I used what we call the morphine balm, which at the time I used the Idaho balsam fir. We talked about not needing that. So now if I have any pain like that, I do substitute that with the lemongrass. But it is equal part of lemongrass, copaiba, and frankincense. And you put it in your little capsule. I actually buy my capsules at Young Living, but you can buy them a lot of different places. But you take your capsule, put 5 drops of each. I don't put a carry oil in there, but you can, especially if you think your stomach's kind of sensitive and you want it to kind of dilute a little bit. But I would take that every 4 hours. And I never had any pain. It was incredible. I kept waiting for it to come. I'm like, okay, it's the 2nd day. That's where it's going to come. And then that didn't hit. And then the 3rd day. So I was really pleased. And then obviously for the mouth rinse, he had some really strong stuff. And I decided, once I learned that colloidal silver is also in the Thieves mouthwash, I ended up using that. I actually made a spray, and I would spray with Thieves and the Thieves mouthwash all down here inside, and then I would also gargle with that. So that was great for me. The second one, which to me is really part of my day-to-day life, I'm older than most of you all there. So when I retired, I started having some joint pain. I'm like, oh gosh, this must be arthritis. So it was getting pretty severe. I get up out of bed and my knees would be sore and everything. So I decided to try, I've been hearing everybody talk about Agilese, as Adi mentioned, the Agilese, and then something called sulfurzyme. And both are incredible. So every morning I take 3 sulfurzyme in the morning and I take 3 at night. And then I take 2 Agilese in the morning. And Agilese, as she mentioned, it's got the curcumin in it, the turmeric, but it's also got frankincense in it. It's also got copaiba, which we've been talking about, in it. It's got collagen and it's got hyaluronic acid. So this Agilese is, I look at it like this. I look at it as a kind of a natural ibuprofen. If you got anything that you have any pain, pop 2 of these. I'm telling you, and it's excellent, and it's not damaging to your stomach like a lot of the side effects of ibuprofen, some of the other things are. So for me, these are a must. And I have to say, I have zero joint pain. 0 pain at all. And this has been just a lifesaver for me. So that's my stories.
Thank you so much, Allison. I just want to quickly add that sulfurzyme also has a side positive effect, as it's great for allergies, seasonal allergies too. So if my parents used to really suffer with allergies and they upped their sulfurzyme and now their allergies are fine. So
and hair and nails.
yes,
Really good. Really helped me with my hair and nails.
yes. Serena, I think you're up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. There's so much that has already been shared, and everyone's talking about people with chronic pain, and I was one of those people. When I first tried oils, I'd been in pain already for 15 years, and it was a choice. I had to, like Addie was saying, how the pain meds just mess with your stomach sometimes. I had to choose whether I was going to be in pain or be constipated all the time. I took the pain. And the first time I tried Benaway, I actually panicked a bit because I couldn't feel my neck. Because, you know, that sensation of pain was the feeling of my neck. So it really did freak me out the first time that the pain was gone. And it's so funny to think, like, especially now that everyone has spoken, I realize that I'm so spoiled for choice now with managing pain. I literally have like this arsenal of oils here. It's all stuff I use for pain, and the CBD muscle rub. And I love that everyone has shared their ways to use it, because like Bonnie and Sam was saying, the layering, it works. It really, really does work. Please try it if you do suffer with pain. Also, I know Adi also loves her CBD muscle rub. I love it too. It's really an incredible oil. One of my best stories with this though was my little boy. He's 6 and he went on a play date. And he left home normal. He came home with like another head growing out of his head. This lump was so big. It was huge. He had fallen like face first and hit his head on a stone. And he's just like, why don't you put your hands forward like a normal person? And it was so massive. So he laid on the couch with me and I put ice on it. And then I like, this was the nearest thing. It was on the coffee tables. So I took some and I rubbed it on him, and I was just chatting to him about his play date. And then I, like, while I'm speaking to him, I can see this thing getting smaller, like while we're chatting. And I called my husband over and he's like, no, this is like some voodoo stuff, man. Like, it's so shocking. Like, you know, it works, but it's so incredible to see it in front of your eyes like that. Everyone's spoken a lot about all the pain oils, but I gotta say, for me, if I were going to choose like 1 or 2 products, it'd probably be the muscle rub and good old Panaway. This really is an incredible oil. And another son story. My son gives me all my best stories. He fractured his arm at the, I think it was, end of last year. So he had fallen awkwardly. He fractured his elbow and slightly dislocated the elbow. And I was home working and my husband drove in and I could hear this screaming from the driveway. And my son doesn't cry, just doesn't. So I knew something was up. And I'd been working from home, like in my PJs. So I ran to the bedroom to put on clothes, and then I ran back out here, grabbed Panaway and Vela, and I literally ripped the top off the Panaway, and I just poured, I asked, where does it hurt? And I poured that bottle on him. And we went to the emergency room, and it's 2 blocks away, like the nearest one. And by the time we were taking him out of the car, he was fine. He was not crying. He was talking to me normally. I also put a ton of Vela, mostly on myself. And when we got in, the nurses and the doctor didn't believe that anything could have been wrong with him. And I said, no, he needs an x-ray. And they were saying, like, no, look at him, he's fine. I'm sure he's going to be okay, just wrap it up or something. And we had to really beg for this x-ray. And when they did the x-ray, the doctor still didn't believe. He said, like, no, he probably moved during the x-ray. That's why they can't see properly. That's why there's a thing. And so they had to redo the x-ray, and the radiologist, like, there's a definite fracture and dislocation here. And he still insisted on giving the x-ray to another doctor for a second opinion, because my son just was not reacting to the amount of pain he should have been in. I have a picture of him actually on the x-ray table, giving me a thumbs up and a little smile. He was totally fine. And it's just amazing that he could, you know, a little 6-year-old boy, kids don't lie. Like, I feel like sometimes I might like trick myself into believing something, but he was fine. And I didn't have to give him any kind of pain meds, even while he was healing. And we used helichrysum, which like knits bones. And he was better in a week. In a week, he was using his arm as normal. He wasn't in a sling anymore. He couldn't feel any kind of pain. It's just incredible. And I felt so grateful to feel like I was that empowered to really help him in that moment when he needed it most. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all from me, except for one little thing I want to say about Ningxia. I've been recently seeing a chiropractor, and Kevin was saying how the dry needling, it makes you ache. It really does. And for me, taking Ningxia, I think because of the extra magnesium boost, that really, really helped my muscles as well. So just a nice tip there as well. And I'm handing now to Claire.
Hi, everyone. So I would call myself one of the lucky ones. I don't struggle too much with pain. But like Emily, I tend to struggle very badly with headaches and migraines, mostly tension headaches and hormonal headaches. The type of headaches that you want to just draw the curtains, come into bed, and nobody must make a sound around you. And they can last anything from 2 to 3 days. So I also alternate my oils depending on how bad they are. On days that it's not too bad, I'll also just use the peppermint, rub it on the back of my neck, rub it on the temples. On days that it's really bad, then I'll alternate. Either I use my deep relief roller, or I've made a roller, a 10 ml roller bottle with 10 drops of peppermint, 5 drops each of lavender, copaiba, and frankincense. Just to point out that peppermint is quite a burny oil, so try not to get it too close to the eyes when you rub it. Try and rub it further into the temple. And then I also find that I need to drink a lot of water once I don't know if it's the peppermint oil, but I guess with headaches, that is a sign of a headache, is that you're dehydrated. So just make sure you drink a lot of water. Then I guess it's the hormonal side of things, but I started using Endoflex 2 months ago, and last month was the first month. I got to day 2, that's normally when the headaches start. I did not have not a single, even the slightest headache. And I believe it's since I started using the Endoflex. Then my son, he tends to struggle with growing pains. He's 7 years old, but he comes from a family with men that are 6 foot plus, and he can easily grow like 2 centimeters in a month. So especially around his knees and on his legs, he gets very bad growing pains. I've also played around with the oils with him. Either use the deep relief, or I use copaiba, or I use the Panaway. And out of his mouth, this is his commentary, is the deep relief takes the pain away quick, and the Panaway keeps the pain away longer. So he prefers that I use the Panaway on him. So yes, that's just a few of the ways that our family uses the oils for pain. And I'm now handing over to Laura.
Thank you. Okay, I've just got 3 quick stories. One is one of my kids gets really terrible tummy aches. Usually if he eats gluten, he's highly allergic to it. But it's like really debilitating tummy aches where he's rolling on the floor crying, and usually shouting for me to please get him the Digize. So this is an absolute lifesaver at home. I put a roller on it. It just makes it so much easier for application. I roll it on his tummy. I then rub it in clockwise, and he recovers so quickly. In like under 10 minutes, the cramps are gone, and he's walking around like nothing happened. Then I run, and after most of my runs, I used to get like a really bad headache. There's lots of headaches also on this call tonight, but I don't actually suffer from headaches. I'm sure it's just posture related when I run, and I get like shooting pains up my neck and into my head, and if I put my thumb like behind my neck, I could shoot to the moon from the pain. Anyway, I got the CBD muscle rub. I got the 300 strength, and I rubbed it in, and it was so incredible that the pain completely went away. But not only did it go, but my neck felt completely soft, like the tissue felt soft, and I could get like a full range of movement, which I didn't even realize I wasn't getting until I could turn my neck and turn it, and it wasn't catching and it wasn't sore. And then obviously, because it wasn't catching anymore, it the headache went away. And then also from running, and then what's happened was, since I've been using the CBD, I've actually just noticed that I haven't been getting these headaches after I run anymore. So I don't know what it fixed, but it must have done something internally to fix the problem. And then also running related, I sometimes just get stiffness in my hips, and Deep Relief helps me so much. I also love that it comes in a roller, and I just roll it over my hips, my glutes, and even before the run, just to, it just like warms up the muscles pre-run, just makes them a little bit looser and warmer. And then afterwards, and yeah, it helps me so much. So those are my 3. Thank you, and I'm handing over to Nicole.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, everyone. I have spoken about this before, so sorry if I'm boring you with another story about it. Laura asked me to come on specifically around a pain story from my endometriosis. So as I spoke about before, I have late stage endometriosis. I actually had no idea until I landed up in hospital on a Sunday in absolute agony, and we figured out what it was. And I was put on like a Schedule 6 painkiller because my pain was just through the roof, like a couple of days before my period. And when I got my period, and I'm the kind of person that keeps going no matter what. And it was just debilitating. And I kept taking the painkillers. Anyway, I, thank God, got introduced to the oils. And I don't know how I came up with this concoction, because I kept looking for where I found it, and I actually don't know. So there's someone in the group from different people talking about different things. I have no idea. But basically, I layer purification first on my abdomen, and then peppermint. And I have had no pain now since the beginning of South African lockdown. So it's at March, April this year. Not one painkiller at all, no medication to manage the pain, just purification and peppermint. And it has been a lifesaver, absolute lifesaver. I put it on in the morning. I usually don't need it again until probably 5 o'clock. But if I do, it's so easy to keep with me, just rub it on and carry on with my day without having pain and the pain meds and like all the side effects from the pain meds. So that for me has been a miracle beyond miracles. And I mean, just with peppermint, I mean, I'm obsessed with peppermint. I speak about it all the time whenever I talk about the oils, but like somebody mentioned now, sorry, about the growing pains, and I use peppermint on my son. He gets lots of pins and needles in his legs, especially if we're going on long drives. So I find that he gets a lot of pins and needles, and we rub it up and down his legs, the peppermint, and it's gone within a couple of minutes. So those are my stories. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. So those are the stories that we had to share with you. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notifications by clicking the bell. That way you'll get notified for all of our upcoming videos. Have a great day.